Good morning, this beautiful, wet, rainy Friday morning, and welcome to the Good Morning Education Show. It's been a really raining morning. I don't know how it is at your end, but it's been raining very heavily here since very early in the morning. But hey, we are here and we apologize for starting the show behind schedule this morning. We had quite a lot of disturbance with the rain, but we're here and the show is kicking off right away. I am Finfolu Falodun and I am holding forth this morning on the show. To every of our tribe members, we say good morning and welcome to the show. And for those joining us for the first time, we're glad and excited to have you join us. Thank you for being here. On the Good Morning Education Show, we analyze, we make suggestions, we make recommendations in and around the world of education. Everything that has to do with education, we are on top of it. And we usually start off our show with the headlines from the dailies that have to do with education. This morning will not be an exception. We will take the headlines first and then we'll go on to our topic for today. Before we go on to that, kindly share. That's one thing you can do for us. You can do for your loved ones, or show them you care. Show them you are concerned about them. Let them share the good news and subscribe to the YouTube channel, and please share with your friends. Okay, so going on straight to the headlines this morning. The first one says Nigerians divided on future, NYSC, Nigerians divided on future of scheme. The debate has been on for a while on whether the NYSC scheme should remain or should be scrapped. Some are for, some are against. Naturally, these debates, this discussions will go on. Normally, there are those who believe that the scheme has outlived its usefulness and has outlived its purpose. And some are saying, let's just revamp it, let's just repackage it. But then I keep asking, is there anything we really have been able to successfully repackage as a nation and that we have been able to run successfully after the repackaging? Really, it will not be a bad idea to revamp it, to maybe change the philosophy that set it up and let it be something much more meaningful. I mean, yesterday also, late yesterday night, I came across a news item about NYSC, about the core members and being paramilitary personnel and all of that. We need to be able to refashion the entire program and have it run purposefully and run intentionally. So yeah, Nigerians are definitely going to be divided on the future of the scheme. We would always have those for and those against, but on the long run and in the final scheme of things, the hope is that the best decision for the country and for the youth of the nation will be made. The next headline, Center gets Ekiti Varsity's approval to run degree programs. The Oak Business School in Ogba, Ikeja, has been given approval by the National Universities Commission to run weekdays and weekends programs at the Ekiti State University for students. I think this is a great one. This is a good one. The more options that we have and the more options that students have to study or to diversify in their available courses, the better. But while we diversify and while we give more options, we really should be looking at the future of work, the future of education, and ensure that these options that we're given are relevant. They're not things that have reigned in the past and are no longer relevant to, but they really should be relevant and be able to give the young people better options for placement uh, out there, outside of the walls of the higher institution. So that's a good one, a good collaboration between the Oak Center, the Oak Business Center, and the Ekiti State University. Ondo rewards 48 pupils for winning national competitions. The Ondo State government has rewarded no fewer than 48 pupils from both the public and private school sectors, both primary and secondary. These students were participated in and won competitions both nationally and internationally. They represented Ondo State, and the governor or the government of Ondo State has deemed it fit to reward the hard work that these young people have put in. We applaud these feats by the students, about 48 of them, or a little more than 48 of them, and being able to come out tops, not only nationally, but also internationally. And also, we recognize and applaud the government for recognizing these things. You know, many times we have other competitions that are not really that meaningful, and then you see the rewards, and it can be depressing, it can be saddening to see the kind of rewards they take away from competitions that are really not adding much to anybody or to us as a country. Good morning, Ugochi. Welcome to the show this morning. I hope you were not caught in the rain, or that you are not caught in the rain. Hello, Ugochi. Can you hear me?
Can hear you, and I'm responding. Can you hear me?
Oh, yes, I can hear you now.
Okay, I was saying good morning, and I know I'm not caught in the rain, thankfully.
Great. Great. Welcome to the show this morning. It's been a really powerfully rainy day.
Yeah.
But we're in June, and June is already showing and introducing itself to us. Like, hey, here I am, here I come. All right. So, moving on with the headline. Harmonized school calendar will create equal standards. Lagos State government.
Well, I'm not sure it will create equal standards per se. What I'm just sure it would create will be uniformity. And that uniformity is really good, where everybody, because when all parents and all teachers know that school is going to resume at this point, we'll all go for midterm break at this point, and school would close at this point. That uniformity helps to give some structure. It also helps to create some routine, for the children. So while I don't know, I may not call it standard per se, because standard we're talking about maybe the quality of education being delivered, but it's going to create that uniformity across all learning institutions, which is a good thing.
Thank you. So, and part of the things that I see in the body of the news is that these harmonized instructional days will cut across both the public and the private schools. And one of the things that is coming up a lot this week is that need to bridge the gap between the public and the private schools. So if we're able to well, as the Lagos State government has put it, harmonized instructional days, and there really is no difference in what the students in a private school and what those in the public schools are learning or are receiving as part of the curriculum, then I think it's a good place to start. So what do you think?
I'm sorry, I missed out some of your words.
Okay, harmonizing their learning or the curriculum and what they learn between
Mm,
the private and public schools. It's a good place to start merging and closing, bridging that gap between that.
mm.
There's this very wide chasm between the public and private schools. It's like one is abroad and the other one is local. But if we're able to even start, that's what it feels like. If we're able to even start with the curriculum we can harmonize the instruction, then we can go on to other things like infrastructure, maybe uniforms and other things. But at least the quality of education that they're getting, harmonizing it, I believe, would is a first step in closing bridging that gap.
Yes, yes.
Okay. The next headline: Federal government trains 8,090 primary school teachers in Ogun State.
Okay. Well, I think that that's a good thing because one of the things that Mr. Digbo keeps mentioning on the show here is that we don't still have enough teachers to cater to the amount of schools and children that we have. So I think it's a really good one that more teachers are being trained so that they are able to be deployed to some of these schools, and also that we are building capacity so that they are able to deliver appropriately, basically.
Yeah, and I see that it's a collaborative effort between the federal UBEC and Ogun State UBEC. That's the Universal Basic Education Board, and
Mm,
it's that's a good one. We've seen a lot of this happening in Lagos. So if it can spread to other states and having more teachers being prepared for the classroom and prepared for the task ahead of them as instructors and as educators, yeah, that is very welcome anytime and any day. Moving on, UTME, 160,617 candidates write 2021 mock exams. You see, this UTME exam seems to really be garnering a lot of news this recently. Ugochi, do you know what the mock exam really is for?
nope, I've not really followed it, so I'm not really certain.
Because I was wondering what the mock is. It a pre to the jam to the actual exam, or well, mock is supposed to be before the exam to get the students ready. But the concern here is that there are still so many students who have not been able to get through the registration process, and they have extended the deadline and said now the deadline will not be extended anymore. And it was yesterday that we had heard from the board saying that many of the students who are having registration issues are having those issues because by things they cost by themselves. So if this is the kick-off of the exam, then well, I don't know. I don't know what will happen to those who were not able to register. Let's just hope that something can be done for them and that they really will not lose out on this year. Okay, NECO appoints acting registrar. Earlier in the week, we heard about the death of the NECO registrar, and the governing board of NECO has approved the appointment of a new acting registrar and chief executive of the council. I guess congratulations are in order. Is there anything you want to add to that, Agochi? Okay, I'm not sure. I'm not sure the network is really
Can
great
you hear
this
me now?
morning. Yes, I can hear you now.
Okay, so it's strange that sometimes I would say something and it will not pick, and then the very next second it is speaking. That's strange.
I think it's
Okay,
the
so I was
network.
saying I don't have anything more to add. Just congratulations to him.
Congratulations to him. And the last headline we have this morning, Unilag sacks lecturers caught on tape demanding sex.
Mm.
One would
Uh,
think that after that expose, that this thing would have reduced.
mm,
Okay, let's
right.
have your thoughts.
Oh well, I think the headline is just explicit, and I think it's a call, it's a warning, to everyone. Don't try to use your power like that. Don't try to use your power like that, and you should know that this is now this is should I say a social media era. This is now a digital era. It's not like before where you say something and you do something and it's difficult to have proof and it's difficult for the message to get out there. Now information gets out quickly, so don't even do the wrong thing. I'll give you an example. On the 1st of June, I was in UI and to pick up my transcript, and I wrote a post about it, and I just did a PS, just a little PS below, talking about how it's really important why transcript should now be automated and not just the payment process. And guess what? A top ranking staff reaches out to me yesterday and says, we have been informed that this is we are having some challenges. A professor brought it to our attention. Send your details so that it can be sorted. And now
Whoa.
someone was saying to me that the only reason this top ranking staff will reach out to you is because they can see that that post has sort of gone viral on LinkedIn. And so nobody wants to be bad press, basically. And it just goes to show how having digital tools and all that can amplify information. So I'll just advise all these lecturers, and it's not even just about lecturers, even bosses in the offices. Stop using your powers to oppress people, because now more than ever, people have tools to protect themselves, tools to defend themselves, and if nothing else, tools to even just bring it to the public.
Hmm.
And you really don't want bad press at this time because it could affect your work, it could affect your business.
Hmm. Okay, so going through that headline, really, I am realizing that it's actually those two lecturers in Kiki Modi's documentary. You know, after the documentary was released, a committee was set up to investigate the
Mm,
the allegation or what happened then, and that committee has found out that these lecturers are guilty as charged and they have been relieved of their jobs. No, she went across not only Lagos. I think she also went to Ghana and University of Ghana, I think. And but one thing this says is that we should not give up. You know, there are many times that we have stuff like this, and we just think, look, what's the purpose? What's the use? Nothing will come out of it. These guys will continue being as brazen as they've always been. Nobody checks them. There is no consequence. I mean, it's gone on for so long because there really were no consequences. Rather, the consequences were borne by the students. So you'll find that student being doubly victimized. The lecturer is saying, "Oh, you're not going to pass my course," and then maybe in the department, some of them even get expelled, and you just find out that the consequences were not commensurate to the weight of the allegations. But with this now, I hope OAU also had a case like that some years ago where the prof even was sent to jail. He wasn't just relieved of his job, he was also sent to jail. So I really hope that we see more of this, more of um, not just exposing them, but them answering for these things that they're doing, for this wrongdoing, so that we can finally, or to a large extent, nip this menace in the board. And let's see that Students are graduating with the reward of the work that they have put in. And that brings us to the end of the headlines this morning. And we're going on to the topic of today. Our topic today is the AI teacher. The AI teacher, artificial intelligence, and AR, artificial realities, and all of those things are taking over. We already have in some industries where they're downsizing on the humans that are responsible for duties and replacing them with robots. I have seen in the medical field they're already doing quite a lot of that. And then when this COVID thing started was China too that started the bot thing. So where all of those infected, the isolation centers, what they were being fed by bots. They were being given their drugs, was taken to their doors by bots. We saw all of those things get to the door and announce their names, and there was it reduced the human contacts, and they tried to reduce the spread using the robots. Ugochi, do you think the time is coming when we will walk into the classroom and the teachers will be robots?
Oh my world, this question. Ah, I think that it's going to vary. I think it's going to vary, and that's because I saw a technology where a teacher, let me say a speaker was on a stage, right? But something, um, it, it, how will I call this now? I don't want to say it's a machine because it was a spitting image. Everything was now
Yeah,
in front of another audience and speaking the same thing. So this meant that if, for example, now I am in Nigeria and I have a conference in Japan, I can stay here to do this conference, but my it's almost like my image would be right there in front of this audience for real. There's
yeah,
a technology about it in front of this audience, and if they can't speak English, I can speak their language and deliver the presentation. Even though here in Nigeria I'm having the presentation, I'm speaking English, but my
yeah,
image over there is speaking their language. So I said that to say this, that it may not necessarily be like an actual robot. It might be that we would our images, because of due to AI and all that, our images, our footprint, everything is now going to be on the way we have all these Bitmoji icons and avatars
yeah.
that were a craze on Facebook a little while ago. So you'd have those avatars that embody you basically and can deliver your speech. So you can be a lecturer and you are delivering a session to people across different locations, but they feel like you're standing in front of them. I don't know if, aside that kind of option, if it will now, it might be the machine option. But what I just know is that in the future, there's going to be a mix of all stuff. There's going to be a mix of all stuff. It's just like, what's already currently going on. People are learning a lot just by interacting with their laptops and computers. Some are still learning in classes, there are various things. It's going to evolve. It will be a mix. So I don't know that it's going to be just maybe one thing or maybe just the robots being the one talking to you in class, because I still believe that the human element cannot be totally removed. It cannot be totally removed. It will still be there, just now maybe in supervisory capacity or controlling or coordinating capacity. That's what I think. It's a very
Okay.
interesting question.
Okay. There's a case study in regarding this. I think you were referring to the casting of Hallows on stage. So it's when you move closer that you actually realize the person is not standing there. It's like you're looking at a screen, but it's in 4D. No, it's not even 3D, and it's in 4D, and it looks like
Mhm.
that may be possible for maybe a large where you have people not too close to the
Okay,
stage.
same
But
for
in a classroom,
conference. Yeah.
Yeah, well, in a classroom where you have children and they're like, "What's going on?" They move closer and they just put their hand and they realize, "Oh no, this what exactly is going on here?" The children may even get scared, like, what is this? What's happening here? But okay,
You
one
may
of
see
the
that's the
case
world that
studies
they are
that
being born into. So they may not even be scared. That's the world they are being born into. Many things that might seem scary to us will not be scary to the generation coming after us because they are born into a techie environment, almost everything. All of them know how to use tabs. They are not, they were, I don't
mm,
even, not, they didn't meet the phones where, you have to dial it, you turn it. Remember that telephone where to dial the number, you turn it. You turn it. They didn't
and
meet
then
that
you
one. They
go
all
back
met
and
touch screen. So
yeah,
it may not
yeah,
even be strange to them.
mm. There's a case study about this, bots taking over. A student reported in January 2021 from Concordia University that the prof taking his course of study had died since 2019. But as it was, he was still having conversation with the professor. It was online. It was online study. So it wasn't that he didn't. There was no physical interaction, but he had been interacting with this person that he thought, oh, it was a professor. And somewhere along the line, he realized that this person died 2 years ago, and then brought it to the flagged it and the university confirmed it. It happened that, or well, what happened was that the lecture notes had been pre-recorded before the lecturer died, and then a bot took over. So you have queries, you send the queries, the bot
Mm.
responds. And the student felt he was having, like, I'm here now, I'm talking to you, and I believe that I'm talking to Gochi, and really it's not Gochi that's talking to me. What effects can this have? What effects can this have on students? You said something about the human touch and the human aspect of it. Oh, In I've read some arguments about AI and AR and all of that, and it says that a lot of things that are technology and science based can be replaced by bots, but that the humanities, it will be difficult to replace the humanities and social sciences by with bots because there is still, it's like going to see a therapist and your therapist is a robot. It doesn't work. It just doesn't sit right. I think it's going to be more aggravating to go into a therapy room and there you just say, welcome, Goji, can you please sit? It's more aggravating. I think
But you
it's just going
know,
to make
let
the
me give you
situation
another
worse.
perspective. Do you know that somebody might prefer to have maybe their personal secret and all that being set to a computer as opposed to a human being? There are people like that. So never say never. It may not even be that way. It's because the world is changing. We can't even tell how the dimensions this form would take. But technology is going to become increasingly a part of everything. And the truth is maybe initially for the therapy sessions it may not be the machine, but because the machines have to be trained to be intelligent so that they can make good decisions. So that means they might need to have gone through your documents, your files and all that, and to be able to connect patterns and all that. And because they're able to connect those patterns, they can actually provide the right solution to you. They can actually ask you to do the right thing. And there may be people who might feel safer to tell their secret to a machine as opposed to telling it to a human being. People are funny. And there are those that would prefer, okay, please, I would rather speak to a human being. So I think that what would happen is there will be options for all those parts. There will always be options so that individuals can now choose what they would rather prefer. But like you mentioned it, I also read that research. You in areas of arts and the humanities, you can't totally remove the place of the human being. And you see, even in the science bits of things, I don't think you will still totally remove the human touch because you still need humans at the top manning this technology, ensuring that there's no malfunction, ensuring that ensure so that it doesn't give out it doesn't give the wrong output. Because that's another thing again, to ensure that the machines also do not give the wrong output. It has to be properly managed. The right input has to be keyed in and all those things. Yes.
Yeah, thank you. And I totally like this comment from Olatunde Adebayo. He says the truth is that technology can't replace teachers in any form, but it will replace teachers that are not technologically inclined. Teaching goes beyond passing or dissemination of information only to include feelings and empathy and more, which can't be programmed. And this is true, especially for at the primary level, where you have children because of all these things that's happening with molestation and abuse. Schools try to reduce contacts from teachers to students, try to reduce this contact, no touching, just avoid having to touch any child. But because this is an innate need of any human being, you see children still run up to their teachers, still run up to them to hug them, they want to hold their hands and all of that. So imagine, okay, maybe our idea, the picture we're having about the bots right now is those machine things, those white things. There are robots now that look like human beings. They have the soft to the touch, they have human faces and all of that. The only thing you will see is maybe the way they walk and all of that. It's different. Then they are usually very emotionless. So to have that, okay, let's look at the possible advantages of having robot teachers. Let's even assume. Let's just assume that maybe in the next 2 years we're having all our teachers replaced by robots. What are the likely advantages of having physical teachers replaced by AI teachers?
The robot will not call you sick. So of course, productivity. I'm being silly, right? But I'm actually also being serious. But the point actually is that
Yeah.
productivity and efficiency will be on a really high level, because if you say classes are supposed to start at 8, classes will start at 8. There won't be human error because it's a machine that is programmed to perform in a certain way. So it would always be exact because it has been programmed to act a certain way. So the room margin for human error greatly reduces. And that's one of the things in safety where we trying to reduce the margin in the margin for error. Because when you reduce the margin for error, the likelihood of accidents and incidents happening also drastically reduces. So it's the same thing here. If a very big if all teachers were replaced by robots, it's going to improve productivity and efficiency across board. Things are just going to happen like almost clockwork. If you are saying that every child must learn so and so by so and so time, it means it is likely going to happen. So the chances of success is higher, as opposed to where you bring in other human factors like, oh, somebody called in sick, somebody came late because of traffic, somebody is on her menstrual cycle, so she's feeling a bit low. She's not as energized as on other days, which is not a bad thing, but it's life. Life happens. And other factors that could affect productivity and efficiency. So for me, that's just the major advantage I see if all teachers were replaced by robots.
Okay, thank you. I'm sure you see that first point. A lot of school owners, school leaders, the top administrative officers of schools will really like that. You will not have down days with robots. You will not have any
Yeah.
down days. But I'm looking at this aspect of would students' performance be better in that because the robots do not have feelings. They can't express anything. They can't express frustration. They can't expect, like students get. One of the things I used to do when my kids got exasperating then was I'll sit at my desk and intentionally zone out. So they come around, once they realize, oh, she's not talking, she's not walking around, they'll come around and be like, and say, Miss, what's wrong? Then I'll tell them, look, I'm not here right now. When I'm back, come and talk to me. And they'll say, but you're here, we're looking at you. I'm like, no, 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 I'm not here. You're just looking at my body. I am really not here, because at those points, I realize that I need to take a break, to step away from them, to be able to handle the next period, because it's been
Okay.
quite overwhelming. But if you have robots, you won't have stuff like that. They will not get overwhelmed. They will not get impatient. They will not get whatever. They're given, maybe saying all the right words programmed into them to say, oh, you are a wonderful kid. Oh, well done. Stuff like that. And the kids are feeling very happy and feeling, will that increase the students' performance? Before you answer that question, let's welcome Mrs. Titi Adeusi to the show this morning.
Good
Good
morning, Ma. You're
morning.
welcome.
Good morning, Ugochi. Good morning,
Good
Titi. Good morning,
morning.
everyone.
You're
This is
welcome.
I
Is
want
it
to hear
raining at
Ugochi's
your
answer.
end this morning?
It's raining,
Okay, so Gochi will
Showers
answer
of
the question
blessing
and then we'll bring
for
it
the
to you
weekend.
for the weekend. Very apt. So Gochi will answer and then we'll bring it to you to hear your view on that. So Gochi, over to you.
Okay, so when you started your question, what came to mind is the fact that because this is a machine that is programmed, it is programmed to suit a particular type of task. It is programmed to the particular type of audience. So, which means if you are talking about will it make learning better, will it improve the assimilation of the child and stuff like that, it may, because it has been pre-programmed to do certain things. So, for example, a robot that might be assigned to teach preschoolers might be pre-programmed to be singing, this sing along type of thing, somebody that will make it
Yeah,
really
and
fun and
dance.
interesting. Yes, exactly. Dance. I know those are the things that get the attention of that level of children, the preschoolers, because they want activities, they want fun, while they learn. Now, a robot that will probably teach maybe students in primary 5 might not be exactly like that, might be hybrid in between the sing along version and maybe a more advanced, serious one that will probably teach GSS or SS class, because because it's a machine, there's programming being done, target audience is being considered, things that will make it interesting, things that would retain attention. It's just the way we all these social media and the social networks, they use our responses on social media, and then they're trying to tune us to act in a certain direction. They're trying to prompt us. There is something WhatsApp started doing recently, and I started laughing. Before, when you send, if somebody's write a message to you on WhatsApp, you can't know if you don't open it. But now, have you noticed that when you're going through your WhatsApp, you can see an @ sign in green that that somebody has tagged your name, mentioned your name in the group. And all those things
Yeah,
are
yeah,
triggers to force you to open it. So on a normal day, the way I manage my WhatsApp is I don't open any WhatsApp message until I am ready to respond to it, because I do not want to open a message, read it, and then not answer. And so if I'm busy, I will not open your message. I can see it, but I will not open it until I'm ready to respond. But I noticed something. Since I started seeing those @ signs, I want to open because I see that somebody has said something directly to me. And I'm like, no, you people are not going to control me. I will still respond at my own time. But I can see how that is going to be a trigger for so many people to keep opening WhatsApp, to keep opening, hey, they responded to
yeah.
my message. Oh, they responded. So it's the same thing here. These machines are going to be programmed to generate behavior in a particular direction. And so if we bear that in mind, then we can see that it can actually become effective in teaching children, because it will take note of what are the things we are trying to achieve with the children of this age range, of this class, and then all that programming will come with the machine to ensure that it delivers at a really high level.
Thank you for that. Before we go take Ms. Adeusi's thoughts on that? Olasile Adebayo says early childhood education is mostly all about care and stimulation. While technology can be adopted to perform stimulation at that level effectively, it can't perfectly fit in the place of care. Meanwhile, care takes a larger percentage in early childhood care and education. Absolutely. I can imagine, replacing nannies with robots in the house. So you have a nanny bot,
And I'm going to
but
say never say never. Never say never,
yeah,
because seriously, the way the world is going now, you might say, oh, it will not be able to care takes a larger percentage. That's why the technology is going to be adapted. That's why there is machine learning. That's why there's artificial intelligence to simulate as if it is a human being doing the work. So we can't really say never, because a lot of things that we thought would not be possible in 2021 is happening before our eyes. So more will even happen by 2030. So never say never, really. That's what I would just say.
all right. Thank you. Over to you, Ms. Adewusi.
No safety chick has said never say never. I will start by saying never. Okay. So
Okay.
I will start by saying that where we are now and in the near future, robots will not, you know, replace teachers, and is the fundamental reason that the fundamentals of real learning takes place on the foundation of love and care and relationship. So when you think of any teacher that made you excel, made you really want to learn, is on the foundation that you felt that they really cared. And it's not a thing of calculation. So I can come and be a fantastic teacher, which is what you can get a robot to replicate. But that thing of care, that thing of sensitivity, that thing of bending the rules to accommodate a higher understanding of the care needed at that time. So it's like my son. Let me even just give a good example. So he was having a spelling bee. And then the next thing I told, I said, you must confess to this spelling bee. But when he came home, he was really sad. My sister had already given me heads up that he came fourth in the spelling bee. And so when he came home and he was like, oh, mommy, I prayed to God on how to tell you about this. I was like, about what? I didn't say I swear you. About what? He says, oh, he came fourth in this spelling bee. The first thing I asked him, I said, did you try your best? Did you try your best? Did you put in your best? He said, yes, he really put in his best. And I said, that's all that matters. I know you can do it. Whatever happened this time around. So, I won't go to the rules. I broke the rules to say this time what he needed was care. What he needed was assurance. It had nothing to do with the learning anymore. And that's what I then focused on. It had nothing to do with learning. So for me, that's really what, we keep saying that the role of a teacher is to ignite. It's not really, the learning is part of it. But right now, a lot of children can learn a lot more stuff on them by themselves and faster. So in the end, it's really about care. And anytime we take that care away from education, take it from when a child is learning, then we've missed it. When you find out when a child has a learning disability or a child has a challenge, what your role there is really, really to urge the person on. Your role there is really to motivate the person. Let the person shift their mindset from the fact that I can't to I can. And the moment that breakthrough happens, you see the acceleration in their learning. This is the same son that felt, oh, mommy, I'm so bad in spelling. And I was like, no, you're not. There's nothing you can't do. So the moment I was able to help him shift his mindset, this same spelling came easier to him. So that's really the role of teachers, more and more, especially with a world that has a lot of technology. What we are really trying to do is break the mindset to say you can. Never, do you understand? I'm bad in math. No, you are not. Do you understand? You can't be a math superstar. Once you can help them see that, then the lessons is easier to absorb. So while robots will help, there are things that they can help doing, like the example safety chief gave. Do you understand? You need someone to do the entertainment. You need someone to do the part. But there's a lot of care that really continues to be the role of the teacher. The time when you quickly understand that you need to break this rule for this child. These are the normal rules, but breaking this rule for this child is not changing the fundamental of what the school is trying to achieve. That's really where the teacher comes in, the care, the understanding. A child, something has happened, and all the child really needs is just a hug. And that's what I did to my son. He came back, I gave him a big hug and said, "You know what? Mommy's still proud of you because you put in your best." And that's really all I'm about. So he felt very happy. The next thing was jumping up and down. So for me, let's remember that, the role a teacher does is to ignite, is to motivate, is to encourage that thing in the child, that potential in the child, that love for learning in the child. Eventually, people might say they will try to replicate that, in machines. I'm not really so sure they would. I remember listening to a documentary, and the documentary was explaining what the human touch does to a person. That if a man lives alone, without human touch, they're not the same. So that thing of how we were created for all that emotional, those emotional things that I had to explain. That's why they say that, when you talk to people that are emotional, you can't use logic and ration to explain those things, because that thing, when the person says, "I'm feeling like a failure," when you say, "Oh, but you succeeded in this, you succeeded in this," it's not a rational. I don't understand. It's not a rational trying to reach them. So robots are here to help, and they would help ease a lot of things for the teachers, which is fantastic.
Okay. So just to layer on what Mrs.
Some of the hard
Adeosi is saying. So Mrs. Adeosi, from the
those
beginning of
that
the
really lock potential. Yeah.
Okay, it looks like we had
Can we
an
hear
overlap there.
Can you hear her
Setichi,
anymore?
can you hear us? No, she started saying
yes,
something
I can
and
hear
then
both of you, but there was a time there was actually a lull. So I thought Mrs. Adeosi was done. That's why I wanted to speak.
Oh,
But then I now heard her
oh,
voice. I had to stop. Yes.
go ahead.
Yes. So
I'm
please go
done.
ahead.
I'm done now. I'm done now.
Okay, so I just wanted to point out to you that earlier in the conversation, I had mentioned that I don't think machines can replace teachers. We need both parts actually to work together,
Add
no
that
matter
word.
what
Add
even
that word.
happens.
Never. Add that word. Never. You see, we should start with that.
Mm-mm. So
Let me do
that
that.
they can't.
no, I
Never.
actually need you to understand where I'm coming from. I was responding to
I'm just pulling
Queen's
your leg.
question based on the question that she asked. That what if machines are going to be here to stay? What are the advantages to it? So I was responding from that premise. And from the beginning
Okay.
of the conversation, I had established that it actually is going to be both ways, and that the children are even getting used to things like that because they're digital natives. But you can't really remove the physical aspect from it. You can't. It's just something that is just important. You can't really remove that human element, basic. So I just thought to mention that because you were not here when we had that part of the conversation.
Yeah. Yeah.
All
I think it's
right.
important to realize that they would make the life of a teacher and the school easier. So it's not something that teachers should look at either or. No, it's something that will make your life easier. Do you get? It will make your life easier. So imagine that while you are going around, you know, giving the student one-on-one, you have a robot that is assisting you to a number of things. So for me, it's not either or. It's really that they work together, ease the burden of some of the things that are, those things that are repetitive, analytical, that take some of the teachers' time away from the real work, which is to ignite and to care. So people should, for me, try to embrace it, and then it also just means that for us as educators, we need to then realize that we need to focus on the value-driven part of our jobs. So if you're still operating at the mundane, then you are the one that is your job is being threatened. But if you keep on focusing at the value-driven aspect of the work of a teacher or an educator, then you can't be replaced. That thing cannot be replaced. So it's important that it's a challenge to teachers to scale up and be valuable. I think that's where I would end. Be valuable.
Thank you. And on the heels of what you just said, Olushola Olumide says, I think it's good for employers, school administrators, etc., to weigh between presenteeism and absenteeism in order to understand which contributes more to teachers' mental alertness and productivity. Teachers need to be alive to give life. Yeah, that's also, and that ties with what you just said, Zadeusi, about the mundane things, the repetitive things. You have to fetch this, you have to do that, you can always have those replaced by robots. And Olatunde Adebayo says, "Thank you, Titi Adeusi, for your unusual, real, and objective view always. Technology cannot take away the position of God on what He intends to use humans to achieve." Yeah, technology really cannot replace the human touch. And just as we round off, because we have talked about the part of the teacher, the role of the teacher, and the role that our physical interaction plays. I'll just read out a quote or a submission by a renowned family therapist. Virginia Satir says that we need 4 hugs a day for survival. We need 8 hugs a day for maintenance, and we need 12 hugs a day for growth. I beg, let me go and start collecting my 12 hugs.
So that means we need a total of what, 22?
Well, maybe not 22. If we stop at 4 hugs a day, that's just the survival level. But if you take it to 8, well, so I'm just maintaining myself. But 12, the 12 is the minimum for the day. And I think I'll just put that in mind. And wrap up on my hug depositing.
Collect all
Thank
the
you.
hugs available.
I'm telling you, that's a
Yes,
nice one.
so yes, we really cannot replace that. No matter how flesh toned, no matter how soft we make robots, there's a difference in the kind of God has just done it like that. We can't explain it, and we can't replace it. That's the truth of the matter. We can't replace it, but we can always have these robots as assistants to make, even if it's administrative, to help with administrative work, to reduce the burden on the teachers and let them focus on the aspect of care and of helping to raise well-balanced, emotional, mental, and psychologically balanced children. Um, it's been an exciting topic this morning. I've loved this, looking at the different angles, at the never say never, never can never can. I love those angles. It really has been interesting this morning. Thank you very much for being here, Ugochi. Thank you for being here, Mr. Adeusi. And to all our viewers online, Olushola Olumide, Olatunde Adebayo, thank you for your contributions this morning. We will be drawing the curtains on this week's episodes of the Good Morning Education show at this point. Join us next week on Monday as we take on new topics and start off a new week. Meanwhile, we wish you a beautiful weekend. Enjoy the rains if it's raining at your end. Enjoy the coolness and the calmness of the atmosphere. The temperature is lower now, so yeah, I think that should help to do something throughout the day for us to be a lot calmer, hopefully. But enjoy your weekend, enjoy your day, and we will not go away without wishing you, without leaving for you our Good Morning Education candy. Uh, Thank you, Olatunde
Yes.
Adebayo. So we are going to round off with our usual mantra. Let's,
It's
yeah,
okay. It's
always
It's
always
always a great
great
a
morning
great
morning
morning on the
on
Good
the
on
Good
the Good
Morning
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 Education.
Education
Education.
Show.